Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something pretty fascinating, sharpening our perception. We're focusing specifically on refining what's called third eye energy projection. Now, when we say third eye, we mean that, energy center between the brows linked to intuition and energy projection. That's about consciously directing your mental focus. Okay, let's unpack this a bit.
Yeah, and the source material we're looking at, it offers some really practical step-by-step ways to hone this. It centers on a practice called samyama, which is essentially a deep state,
Mm-hmm.
combining intense concentration, visualization, and really sensing an object, almost merging with it. It's quite systematic, actually, designed to help you gain, well, real mastery over that inner focus.
Okay, mastery. But before you get there, the source really hammers home the need for clarity, right? On the basics.
Absolutely fundamental.
So things like, what is your specific object of focus? Is it a small ball, maybe a spoon, a candle flame? And the energy itself, what color or quality are you picturing? Like white light or maybe an indigo glow or just warmth?
Right, defining that quality.
And crucially, how do you feel it? That object in your awareness. Is it pressure, warmth, a tingling? Having really clear answers, the source says, is key before you try the finer adjustments.
Exactly. Because once you have that foundation, then you can move into what the source calls advanced refinements. These really deepen things. One major technique is anchoring with your breath.
Okay. The breath. How does that work here?
So you inhale, and as you do, you visualize drawing energy into your third eye. Then you exhale, and you project that energy towards your chosen object.
So it's a rhythmic thing.
Precisely. That rhythm links the breath to the projection, and it really helps stabilize and deepen your concentration, almost like using breath to direct the flow.
Interesting. Is that more of a psychological anchor, or is it seen as actually influencing the energy flow itself?
The source suggests it's kind of both. The rhythm definitely aids psychological focus, but within this framework, it's also believed to genuinely help channel and stabilize that focused awareness.
Got it. What other refinements are there?
Well, there's color and texture visualization. This is pretty cool. You assign a really vivid color, say that deep indigo light you mentioned, to the energy. And you can even add a texture like imagining it feels silky or perhaps has a subtle weight.
Texture to energy. How does visualizing texture help?
It makes the abstract more concrete, doesn't it? Gives your mind more sensory detail to lock onto. It deepens the experience, makes the energy feel more, well, real in your perception.
That does add another layer. Okay. What about pushing the precision?
For that, the source recommends micro-object exercises. So you start with something incredibly light, think a feather, or even just imagining a tiny, tiny ball of light. And you alternate meditating on it with trying to actually sense, say, tiny shifts in its perceived weight or presence.
Starting that small. Why? What's the benefit?
It trains your sensitivity to the absolute subtlest shifts, pushes your perception beyond just the obvious stuff. You're honing your ability to detect really delicate, energetic interactions.
Makes sense. Fine-tuning the senses.
Exactly. Then there's sutra-based samyama. A sutra here is basically a single, powerful word like flow or unity, something that captures your intention.
Yeah.
You use this word mentally as an anchor while you're projecting the energy. But the real finesse is letting that word gently fade away into silence as you become more absorbed. The idea is to move beyond thought, just merging with the focus itself.
So the word is a starting point, not the end goal.
Right. And finally, there's the crucial step, the emotional neutrality check. You need to pause sometimes and just notice, am I feeling excited? Am I doubting this? Because those little emotional ripples, the source points out, can totally distort the subtle perception you're trying to refine.
So our internal state is just as important as the technique.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating this neutral observer mindset. You're aware of what you're doing, but detached from whether it works in that moment.
Detached from the outcome. That allows for clearer observation, I suppose.
Precisely. Pure perception.
Okay, so we have these refined techniques. How do we actually practice them? The source gives some exercises, right?
Yes, some very practical ones.
Like the three-phase projection. Tell us about that.
Sure. It's a simple 15-minute exercise. You spend the first 5 minutes just visualizing the energy building at your third eye. Really see it clearly.
Okay, phase 1. Visualize.
Then, for the next 5 minutes, you actively project that energy towards your object, consciously using that rhythmic breath we talked about.
Phase 2. Project with breath.
And the final 5 minutes. That's pure feedback. You just sit quietly, eyes closed maybe, and notice any subtle sensations, vibrations, temperature shifts, maybe a feeling of connection, whatever comes up.
Phase 3. Sense the feedback. I like that structure. What else?
There's also the mirror feedback loop. This one's quite direct. You sit facing a mirror and project energy towards the third eye area of your own reflection.
Towards yourself in the mirror. Okay.
Yeah, and as you do it, you pay really close attention to any subtle shifts in your own facial awareness. Maybe a slight pressure behind your eyebrows, a tingling, even tiny muscle twitches. It's about sensing the effect directly.
That sounds intense, potentially. And journaling.
Oh, definitely. Guided journaling is emphasized.
Yeah.
After every practice session, just quickly jot down a few things. How clear was the visualization? What physical or mental sensations did you notice? What was your emotional state, like neutral, excited, frustrated?
Right.
Doing this consistently over weeks helps you spot patterns. You see what works, where you get distracted, and how you're progressing. It guides your refinement.
Okay, that makes sense. Tracking the process.
So bringing this all together, integrating it, the advice is really about consistent practice. Daily, if possible. Even short bursts, like 10 or 15 minutes, add up.
Consistency over duration, maybe?
Often, yes. And the idea is to gradually increase the subtlety of your focus object. So you might move from, say, a physical object like a spoon to something finer like the air itself, or a sound, or eventually even just a thought form.
Progressing towards more abstract target.
Exactly. And it's always worth remembering the underlying goal here, as the source material consistently points out. It's ultimately about self-mastery, developing inner control and awareness, not just, gaining some kind of psychic power.
Right, it's an internal discipline. So really what this deep dive shows is how these refined techniques, precision, systematic practice, self-awareness, can seriously enhance our focus and perception.
It really does.
Yeah.
And, that brings up an interesting question for you, the listener, to maybe reflect on. This raises an important question. How might these core principles we've discussed, precise focus, systematic practice, objective feedback, how might they apply to other areas of learning or self-improvement in your own life, outside of this specific practice?
That's a great question to ponder. Where else does this focused, systematic, feedback-driven approach apply? Definitely something to think about. We encourage you to reflect on that and just notice any subtle shifts you might experience if you try some of these techniques.